Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Selena and I like to call myself your holistic guide and GAPS guru. I like to talk about all things GAPS related, food, emotions, and really how to interact in that space of healthy living for both your body and home. Today I'm going to be talking about 5 polite ways to decline food when you're on the GAPS diet. This could apply to whether you're on the GAPS diet or whether you're on some other kind of healthy eating protocol where you just really need to maintain that kind of discipline. And if you keep being approached by people being asked if you want some food, a lot of times people like to offer food in different kinds of settings as ways to be hospitable, and it can be really uncomfortable if you're on especially those earlier healing stages when you just really have to say no. I want to give you 5 polite ways to say no to food when you are pursuing healthy eating. I want to start off by saying that there really is no right or wrong way to do this. What's the most important here is that you are honoring yourself and you're not forgetting or losing those values that you have and those goals and that vision you have towards healing. You could really apply any of these strategies. Not either one is better than another, but I just wanted to give these as options because I know that a lot of people encounter this and it can be some really awkward conversations, and quite frankly, different relationships call for different responses. The goal here is to lower the stress level when it comes to interacting with people around food. And so I just want to give these to you as a way to help you, give you some ideas so that on the spot you don't feel that kind of intense pressure of saying no, how to say it, how to make them feel good, but also get your point across and be true to your no. I'm going to start with number 1. And that is just being brutally honest. Now, when you have really pushy people in your life, this might have to be the tactic that you use. I know that I have had to use this strategy at certain times with family members who just really haven't understood why I'm doing what I'm doing or what the purpose is, and they just are constantly nagging at me or think that I'm being too picky. I've had to be very brutally honest with them at times. And that might look like just saying, no, I'm not going to eat that right now. No, I don't want that right now, but thank you. Now, you can say no thank you. I think that a lot of times people try to over-explain why they're saying no to something on GAPS or why they're saying no to a certain food, and then they feel like maybe they have to give all the explanation of why that food isn't on their protocol, and by the end the person feels like they should have never been eating that food in the first place. So sometimes the brutally honest approach is actually the easiest approach. Just being clear, not giving too much background, not giving too much deep information, but really getting your point across. No, I really appreciate you thinking of me that way, but I'm not gonna eat that right now. I think there's a really just quite polite way of being super frank with people, and even though some people might take it the wrong way, just remember that we're not doing this protocol for them, you're doing it for you. And as long as you're not, cussing them out and yelling at them, saying no thank you is really just a brutally honest answer. I don't want that. No thank you. That's not good for me and my body right now. Just kind of being brutally honest, to the point, and not saying anything more. Okay, so here's response number 2, and that is to give kind of what I like to call the allergy answer. Now, the allergy answer is really kind of one that sometimes it can apply, especially when you're in restaurant settings where people maybe want you to eat and you're decided not to eat, or you're trying to order something at a restaurant that's kind of going to be as safe as it can be. You're traveling or whatever, and you just need to give some kind of answer that's going to get the message across that you cannot have this, this, and this, but you're not giving all the explanation and the fluff of this diet is for healing and this is a long-term thing and I had all this chronic illness. You don't really need to give all these explanations. This is kind of for those times where you really just need a simple answer that people culturally understand. And I feel like nowadays people are really starting to understand that food does have an impact on your health. And especially with allergies, that's been something that even if you aren't there where you're like, food has an effect on your long-term health, people know and have known for years and years that allergies are very significant, and you shouldn't push somebody and you shouldn't recommend food to somebody who's allergic to some of these things. They know that for whatever reason, you're gonna have an uncomfortable reaction, and it's really important to not push you on it. And that's kind of the goal here, getting the point across so people aren't being pushy with you, but you're also being kind and polite and open with them of what's going on so that you're able to maintain that connection and that experience of wherever you are. Maybe you're at a restaurant, and be crystal clear. I can't have this. So that's the allergy answer. Now, answer number 3 is going to be what I like to call a vulnerable answer. Now, this is not for everybody, and I think this is really important to distinguish. Some people in certain situations really just need the brutally honest answer. Some people, you're not close enough to them to explain all the details, and you might just want to give them the allergy answer. But there are going to be some people in your life that you're going to want to open up with and share your process and your journey of healing, and that's actually going to benefit you a lot in the long run. You're going to be able to share why you're doing what you're doing. Hey, this type of food is really not good for me. I would feel like I'm harming my body to do that. My body hasn't been responding well to this food, so I'm really just going to hold off. I really want to honor my body right now, and this is really not what it's craving. This has been the journey I'm on, and I'm really learning to eat intuitively, learn what my body's needing, and this is just not what I'm looking for right now. But thank you so much for offering. Now, this is polite, and you're letting people into your story. You can kind of share maybe some of why you're doing it. You don't have to go into all the gruesome details of like, I'll get explosive diarrhea if I have this food right now. Or, you know, I've been struggling with SIBO and I can't feed that pathogenic bacteria right now. You don't have to go all into that, although you can here. But the idea is just being vulnerable, a little bit more open, and giving them some of the details. This might be for a situation where you're talking with a friend or a roommate, or maybe even a parent if they're open to hearing it. The idea is just giving them a little bit more of the backstory of why you're doing what you're doing, so that the answer no doesn't just feel daunting, and certain relationships sometimes merit that. Now, response number 4 is going to be what I kind of coined as the teacher response. Now, this is not always the best response for people. I would actually venture to say there's some people you really should not try to teach them about this diet or your healthy living habits, because it's just not going to be beneficial for the relationship. But in certain situations, people asking you why you don't eat certain foods, people offering you foods that you can't have, could actually be an opportunity for you to share what's been going on and about the GAPS protocol or other kinds of healing protocols that actually a lot of times for me has opened up amazing conversations where people are just super hungry to learn. They end up asking me lots of questions, and I'm able to kind of teach them what I've learned and what's been working for me. You might ask, do you know why I'm doing this? Or I don't know if I've shared this with you yet, but I would like to share that this is actually what I was struggling with for a while, and because I did this, this, and this, I've actually felt no symptoms. And it's crazy, but this doctor actually healed her son of autism, and she created this whole protocol around healing people of all sorts of chronic diseases with just nutrition. Teaching people, inviting people into this by just sharing the information can sometimes be a super helpful way to kind of deflect the pressure, explain what's going on so people understand why you're doing what you're doing, and you don't feel as much of the kind of awkwardness of saying no but them having no idea why. Again, this is not for every relationship and every situation. Maybe not a waiter at a restaurant, you're not teaching them, although that's happened to me at times where people have just started asking and I have shared. It's not for every situation. And my 5th and final polite way of responding to people when they offer me food is through humor. And humor I've found to be one of the most effective ways. There was a long time in there where I was just teaching everybody. I just go into this long spiel about chronic illness and food and nutrition and farming and agriculture, and I realized that a lot of people just weren't ready to hear it. And for some people, the brutally honest answer just isn't really enough, and the vulnerable answer doesn't really make sense, and you're not really that close to them. And so there have been a lot of times now recently that humor has actually been a way that I say no lovingly without sometimes even saying no, but I deflect the pressure and I'm able to kind of stand firm in my boundaries and stick to my goals of healthy eating. So I had an example in the office at one point where a coworker of mine offered me some sweets, and I was just like, no thank you. And he had said, come on Selena, live a little, take some, you'll be fine. And he just didn't understand why I was doing what I was doing, and that's okay. And my response was, I had at the time an orange in my hand. This is my sweet. Like, I am living on the edge. Look at me living on the edge with my orange. And it just kind of just created this like lighthearted conversation, lighthearted atmosphere where nobody felt pressured, nobody felt judged, and everybody just kind of laughed it off. And I didn't really have to go any deeper than that. I also had another encounter with somebody who had invited us out to eat, and I actually had to bring my own food because I knew I couldn't eat the food there. And she came up to me in the middle of the meal and she started offering me things that I knew I also couldn't eat. And she was like, I feel so bad that you can't eat this. And she kept on offering me stuff. And you know, I've explained to her the honest stuff. I've explained the vulnerable vulnerable stuff at times. I've taught her even at times a little bit. She still just kind of doesn't get it, and that's totally okay. So I got to this point where I was just like, maybe we can just laugh it off. So she would point to me and she would like offer me some food, and I would point right back to her and I would say, you eat it. You eat that food. That's your food. And she just kind of laughed it off, and the pressure and, you know, the cultural thing of just wanting to feed people and wanting to be hospitable, that kind of just dissipated because she was just laughing, I was laughing, and the pressure was off. I think when we're learning how to interact with people, when we eat differently than them, it's really important to understand that people really just don't know what they don't know. It's definitely not our responsibility to always act like the teacher, but sharing sometimes can be really helpful. If you're not ready for any of these strategies, I think that's totally fine. Adopt whichever ones feel safe and comfortable for you where you're at. And maybe there are times where you might need to take a break from being around so many people who are eating differently than you, because the pressure and the anxiety around having to say no all the time is really overwhelming, and that's totally valid as well. I took a period of time kind of away from eating out and really eating around people besides my family for a while, and it honestly did my heart so much good to just be able to be like, you know what, I'm just doing my own thing and I'm taking care of myself. I don't have the capacity quite yet to entertain all these people's questions, and if that's where you're at, I would just encourage you to just be present there and be okay with that. Again, there's no right or wrong way to answer these questions. It's all about just being honest and true to yourself and really not sacrificing those values to please other people. There are a billion other options probably of things you could say, but I just wanted to give these 5 in case you've been struggling with this and you need a different approach for the people in your life who just maybe don't understand. So thanks so much for watching. If you got anything valuable out of this video, like and subscribe. And it is my passion to walk alongside people as they heal and grow. It inspires me and hopefully brings encouragement to you. Thanks for watching.